So all of our patterns, all the problems, all our desires, the idea that you have a block or you have a need or there's a disease, and yes, all of these things are fully real to the dualistic sense of the holographic references that we dwell in. That's would never minimize that. I have my own issues occasionally, but it's more that to move out of the experience of a particular pattern, one must have, or it is useful to have, references for something that exists outside of the experience of the pattern. You can't change something in awareness without being aware of something that can be changed. It's kind of it's a conundrum. It's that old thing of, well, what if I go back in time and I kill my grandfather and I've never been born, yet how did I go back in time? It's one of those things. How can I be having a human experience when I'm really this essence of the all, and yet everything appears to be very personal, very localized, very much happening to a me? That's where it's very interesting. I don't know how to tell you to do it. I have certain things that have happened in my life that have made it a little different. But to depersonalize the personal, not in a false way. In other words, oh, well, I don't feel that. No, you do. But if you go to the point where you're aware of the body, you're aware of the mind's collaborations and consternations, and yet you're unmoved by them at your core is always stable. It's always, I don't even want to use a word like serene or any words that describe a human experience, because it's not a human experience. There is no experience to be had. There is no human to be found. There is only that which is, and that which is indescribable. As soon as you start to describe it, you promote it to a lesser role as a mirror image of what you can't perceive. In other words, you bring that which can't be perceived, can't be named, can't be categorized into a category. You name it, perceive it, and then you adapt elements of what you can understand to that perception. So then what happens then is as a personality, as a character, you're locked into those perceptions without being able to move them. You could call that a block in a way, but really it's illusory. The pain isn't illusory. The disease isn't illusory. The condition is not illusory. I understand that. I understand that. But it also is, because outside of the perceptions of what this is, what you have called it, what you have named it, what that name has brought to you as thought forms that have congregated and congealed into what you recognize as a pattern, a disease, a condition, okay, a desire. That's only a tiny little bit of what's possible, yet it's not possible to move out of this while attempting to change that. Now, when you stop attempting to change something, you allow it to be whatever it is, but then you interact with it from a it's like you strip the verb, you strip the words, you strip the active sense of it off. And then it's like you're looking at a painting of a thing that you've perceived. Like, I've looked at this thing and then I've drawn it, which is one of the things I might do here. And in perceiving it differently as a drawing or as a model or as a Batman doll or whatever it is, you now have access to other parameters of perception that can open up, because you're playing a different game. You're role-playing a different game. Role-play the wizard, role-play the healer, whatever. None of that makes any sense, and it doesn't matter at all. Whatever you call yourself is just another limitation. It's another box, okay? Excellent book, if you want to look into it. Reality Boxes by Ingo Swann, S-W-A-N, who was the head of the Princeton, I think it was Princeton, remote viewing. No, I'm sorry. It was the Stanford remote viewing club, basically, that became the CIA-based military remote viewing program. So reality boxes, or reality, I'm pretty sure it's reality boxes. All the time I'm speaking with you, by the way, there are interactions occurring from what you've written. The beauty of it is when one doesn't feel one is the doer, then that which is done can be so much more powerful and so much more effective because it's non-judgmental, non-verbal, it's non-transitory. In other words, it's the pebble in the pond. You are the pebble in the pond. The ripples that occur then, as long as you don't attempt to contain them in a smaller container, they go on and on and on. And they also create harmonic series that interface with each other and interact with each other, you see? So you get all these interactive patterns that are building up as torsion, that are imprinting awareness into new possibilities, that then it is a matter of consistently shifting awareness outside of dwelling upon whatever the perceived problem is, not ignoring it. There's a difference. The mind will attempt to say, well, you just have to ignore your pain or ignore your problem or whatever. No, you don't ignore it, you accept it. Once you accept it, in acceptance, you've now given its rightful due, you've given it the energy it deserves, and now you can move awareness to a different quadrant of perception, which allows for a tipping on the axis of the hologram in such a way that it can perceive other possibility states that were not available before.